Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to PvMer Spotlight. This is the 16th rendition, and in this episode, I am joined not by one, but two very special guests. Some of the best CoX raiders from the Grand O Clan Sanity. I am joined here today with the one and only Okke and Tofi.
Yo,
Oh, that's good. The
How you-
greatest.
How we doing today, boys?
good.
I'm doing great. Just came back from work, so yep.
Alright, so let's quickly get an introduction to you from you guys. So, how do you guys get into old school RuneScape?
I begin.
Yeah, go on.
All right. Yeah. Started in 2006. At school, we had these computers you could use during the break, and we're a bunch of older kids playing RuneScape there, and it looked awesome. So it's like, holy fuck, I need to play this. And then one of my friends, his brother played it, went to his house, and he showed me how to make an account. Didn't speak any English, didn't understand the word, but my mom coached me through creating an account. And then I got stuck on Tutorial Island for weeks because I didn't understand anything. So that's how I started.
The um, I don't actually remember like the year when I started to play, but I was young, like really young, and I played on my classmate's account, I think, and I was killing. First thing I did was killing the guys in the stronghold security.
The Minotaurs?
That was, yeah, I think so. I was like slaving for him. So yeah, I don't remember the year, but like early.
Understandable. I still remember my little adventures when I was a noob, and that one dude I was with, he took me to the grizzly cage in
Yeah.
Varrock?
Varrock Castle. Yeah.
Yeah, that guy fucked me up. I died, and I lost my shit and I cried. Bro,
Oh,
because it
man.
was like the zombies were beating her ass, and I was like, oh fuck, and I didn't think about teleporting home, or didn't know about trapping, so I just died. And I was like, are you fucking joking me, man? Oh, my fucking iron armor's gone. I was so sad.
Oh boy. Remember when the wilderness didn't have a ditch?
I didn't play back then. Like, I started
Hey,
2008.
really?
Yeah. When I started playing, I started chatting with some guy who spoke Dutch, and he would show me around Farok, and he just walked me into the wilderness, and there was some guy airstriking me, and I died and lost everything.
Dude, it's
Oh, that's
crazy
correct.
because like people are so deceptive. This was like back free trade wasn't around, so it's 2009 or whatever. And there was this guy who I thought was a friend. He said, "Hey, let's go to Red Portal." Now, obviously, for a normal person, that should instantly be like a red flag.
Yep.
But I was like, nah, I'll trust him. He fucking brings me out and starts beating me up with his fucking Rune 2 age. And I'm like, stop. And he doesn't stop. And I booked it all the way from the end to the start, and I survived. And then it's like, no, come back. I need to show you something. Like, fuck you, man. Try to fucking kill me, dickhead. I didn't say that. I was too young, but me now would probably call him a dickhead, and his mom would fuck him in the ass or something. I don't fucking know. Sorry.
Okay,
Go on.
one thing I remember when I made my first account, like my own account, I got like rune full at some point, and I was killing the dark wizards in the Varrock, and I think it was some Finnish guy that came to me, and he said like, "Okay, I'll give you 100k if I get your password." And yep, I did it, and yeah, end of the story.
Ah, jeez. Dude, that actually does bring up one memory. So this guy said he'd do quests or something for me, or training for me if I did training for him. So we're like swap trainings, and I was like, okay. I don't remember what I needed to train, but he was like, he'll train it for me if I train something else for him. He gave me his account details, and I gave him mine. and like I was able to get on his account, but then he changed my password. And that's the weird thing, because he changed my shit, but he didn't, like, he actually gave me his details. So if I wanted to, I could have just dropped all the shit that he had on him. But instead, my dumbass was like, because I didn't remember that recovery was a thing, or I was just hoping he didn't have recovery. Oh, you know what? He's a members account. I'm free to play. I'll just fucking change his password. And that's what I did. And then he recovered his account back. And I was like, fuck. So then he got my account and got away scot-free. And I was just like, it was just so weird because he actually gave me his account. I don't know. It's just weird. But let's move away from reminiscing the past. All right, lads. So tell me about the journey of getting into endgame PvM and eventually joining Sanity.
So I met some dude at the GE back in 2018. He was just advertising his CC. And I was like, sure, I'll join. I have no one to play with, basically, because all my friends were on RuneScape 3. So, yeah, that's where I came from. So, yeah, I switched over. I joined that CC. I got my fire cape like a few weeks prior. And just wanted to meet some people to do bandos with, endgame PvM. And at some point, one of the guys in there was already maxed back then. And he invited me to do a duo raid with him, a duo chambers. And you can guess how well that went.
Probably went fantastic.
Yeah, it was like 90 combats. He was 126. He had done a few raids, but yeah, duo and chambers back then was just bad. I had like void and a whip or something. That was my gear. And I finished with like 1k points, but I loved it. I loved the chambers. And 1 week after that, he took me on another, went a little better, but I was basically just his mule for pots, and he finished the raid for me. So that's my introduction to raids. And then I joined Weeder raids at some point because I wanted to do more raids. And I had a group of 2 friends we did trios with. So I wanted to learn through Weeder raids. And I did some of those mentor raids. You taught them as well in the past, right? You were a mentor?
Yeah, I was a mentor, and then shortly after a mod. So like when I joined and started mentoring, like 2 or 3 weeks after, they put me as a mod.
Right. I had one mentor raid with Knach, and one with what's his name? Ukraine or something. You might remember those people.
I remember Ukraine was infamous for things.
It was
what?
like a 9-man mentor raid.
I don't know. I just remember hearing like some good things and some bad things about Ukraine, but I don't know. It's like what's the word? Distant. It's a distant memory. I don't know the exact details.
Right. Yeah, that got me even more into raids, and the guys I was doing trios with, they weren't bad, but they didn't want to learn, and that kind of annoyed me. They didn't want to get better. They just took the same stuff, same amount of pots, same amount of gear for hundreds of raids. Didn't care about doing it faster, which I liked. And then I stumbled upon Addy's stream because he was a mod in Weeder raids. His name started with an A. He appeared at the top, so I found his stream. And that's when I started chatting in his chats. I always chatted a lot in Twitch chats, and that's how I joined. That's how I met Hayo, because he was a mod in there, and they streamed together, like these speedruns they did back then. And that really got me into chambers. I was like, I want to do this. I want to do what they're doing, just chamber speedruns. And yeah, just wiggled my way into their friend group, and I got raiding with them. Oh.
It was also kind of how we got to do stuff together too, since you were friends with them, and you were friends with Toy, and I was like really into trying. That was like during the time when I was trying to like grab as many people as I could to do CMs with, because that was like that was such a good time. Just when I started getting the CM5s, honestly love it. And to this day, I'm still pretty ecstatic about it. Just I don't have as much time.
Uh-huh. Get it. And I was doing raids with Kelp at some point. It's this like 2019, 2020. Just doing random LFR standard raids, just seeing what kind of randoms we'd get. And that's when that's when one guy joined. His name was I Was Autist.
Damn.
And we did like a 14-minute trio. And that turned out to be
Wow.
Tofi.
Oh my.
Yeah.
That's how we met.
Oh my gosh.
Hey, when was that? Like
Oh, a
4
long
years
time
ago?
Yeah. Something like that.
Was it that long ago? I thought it was like, because I remember when Tofi
Or
name
maybe
changed. It was like, that has to be like 2 or 3 years ago, probably.
no, maybe it's 4 or 3. I don't remember exactly.
At least 3, yeah.
Probably find the screenshot somewhere.
So, when did you start getting into Sanity? Because I know that you met up with the boys like Shots in them, so I'm kind of curious to hear the story of how you got into Sanity.
Me? I don't know. It's kinda didn't have people to do raids with. This was like at the end of the shack when that kind of dissolved.
Yes.
Yeah,
Rest
that's
in
when
peace.
I didn't have many people to do chambers with, and it's like I saw Swift was in Infernal and Tofi as well. Those people I knew were in Infernal, and then everyone started shitting on that clan and they moved to Sanity. I don't know exactly how that all went, but they moved to Sanity and was like, fuck it, I'll apply to Sanity. And I joined at the right time because there was a bingo coming up, so met a lot of guys doing the bingo and got it to a new group basically.
Yeah, and I also felt that Sanity CM presence just like skyrocketed with all those guys moving over, yourself included. So it's like now
Yeah.
people see, oh shit, Sanity's actually got a fucking Pogger CM team. Because I felt like back then it was like it was only Obliv. It was really only Obliv, and then there's of course the people in Inferno. There wasn't really much CM presence. Now you're seeing a lot more CM presence like all around,
Yeah.
which is nice to see.
Yeah. I don't know exactly how that went. I didn't really do many CMs before I joined Sanity actually. Uh Sophie knows more about that probably than I do.
Yeah. I mean, I tried to drag you into a couple when you were applying for Obliv, but sadly
Right.
we couldn't keep you for long. You're like, get me the fuck out of here.
Yeah, I don't know. You guys were already my friends, and I didn't really see a point in joining a Bliff if it's just a bunch of tight knit groups.
Yeah.
I was already in one, so how am I gonna make friends with the other guys? And yeah, I'll look somewhere else.
Honestly, that's completely fair because to this day I still feel like Oblivion has that issue with very, very tight knit groups. So I don't really see it
It's
improving too much. I mean, there's one group that's a lot open. It's called the Crack Smokers. But even then, you don't have to be a Bliv to hang out with them. You just gotta know some of the dudes.
it's kind of the same thing in Sanity, honestly. Like we have our own server with like 8 people in there, and we basically only raid together if we raid at all.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of a small group, yeah. Ego.
Yep.
Man, these guys win a speed cup and their ego skyrockets. It's insane.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's ask Mr. Tofi. So give me your introduction to how you got into high level PvM, sir.
My timeline is actually I can't really remember how everything went, but roughly like I was PKer when I started like old school, and then I got like I was looking like YouTube and saw people doing PvM, and I started to level my main account and like doing workout and shit. Then I found out video raids at some point, and I was like learning so much stuff, like just reading. And then I did my like first mentor raid. I actually remember. I think I got like Dex on the first raid. I
Ooh.
did,
Oh
and
shit.
yeah, it was great. Yeah. Then I just got fucking addicted, I guess. I did more raids, just raids, and at some point, I actually I found a screeny from early 2020. I have 800 KC.
Oh my
I don't remember when I started Chambers, but yeah, I did a lot, like loads of raids. I was pretty noob, like even after 1k KC, like I don't know. I just CPA'd learning like max F stuff. Um, then like I don't know. I met some people. I can't really remember the names anymore, but they were like really good at the chambers, and we started to do like 4+1s, getting better, doing more raids.
Right.
Yeah. I think. Yeah. I don't know. I have hella KC in chambers, so like I did maybe 2000 raids in video raids, but they were
Oh.
like pretty max F. Like I loved doing like max F stuff and learning the thing.
So there is one point I do want to talk about. I'm not sure where on the timeline it is, but I only want to
Yeah.
speak about it because I felt like it was a very core experience for me of how I got deeper into CM5s. So around the time when I started trying to find that team to go for the diary, you were on that team. And that was just because Migu had found a guy, Swift Steps and Tofi from We Do Raids, and I was like, you know what? Yeah, I need some people that want to pod CM5s, and he has his friends, so I'd bring them with me, and that was the beginning of me going for the CM diary time, and we fucking just like that. After a week of sunning attempts, we fucking got it, and fucking Swift and Toffee were on the team, and I would continue playing with them and improving.
I don't actually remember when I like started to do CMs. I think I did like money raids, money CMs, and I had no clue. Like they were like 45-minute trios or something. I don't
Yeah.
know. I mean, it was like decent at the time. I mean, not decent, like yeah, like average money rates, I guess. Um, as Okke said, at some point we did a like trio raid, 40-minute trio, and like that was my fastest raid ever, I think, back in the day. So that got me into like speedrunning, I guess.
It was like a prep raid as well. It was just a
Yeah,
VTV with
yeah,
prep or something.
What?
yeah. Like I think you told me to do like do this, do that, and I was like, okay, this is so cool. These guys are so good at the game. Like, yeah. Um. Then I remember like we did some trio no prep subs at some point with
Uh-huh.
Swift and Carino, the rank 1 Chambers
Yeah.
guy.
Carino.
And yeah, we got like top 10 time. I think it was 11-10. Actually, it was top 3. Yeah. And then I got invited to random like 7-man speedrun at some point, and tick counter was big thing back then. Like people use it to see like who lost more sticks and
Oh, yeah.
whatever. And I was like pretty high on the counter, and yeah, that's how I got into like speeds, I guess.
I remember we used to run that when we were doing the 9-mans and eventually the 7-mans.
Yeah, those were golden times.
Those were the days.
For CMs, I think I was never like CM speedrunner. I did just regular chambers, pretty much. And I think actually we had a team. We were going for, I don't remember what the time was, but like decent-ish time with the team. It was like Acid House, Anonym, Gav Slave.
Oh no.
Wait, who is that? Sorry.
I think his
And
name rings a bell.
yeah, he was one defense pure.
Oh. You're reading one defense pure?
No. He had the main. He had main.
Oh.
I mean, Igro.
Yeah,
Oh,
Igro. Yeah. Then there was Swift and me, and we were like going from scratch. We were figuring out stuff like ourselves. Then at some point, yeah, you invited me to the CMs, and here we are.
You're at today.
Yeah. Loving CMs.
Yeah, I love me some
Loving
CMs, bro.
chambers overall, yeah.
I'm just looking at some old screenshots now, and just I had so little KC back then, because I wanted to look for the screenshot where I met Tofi, but I went to like my 400th KC or something. That's when Mega Skill was happening,
Oh, yeah.
and
Hey,
I
you were
remember-
cracked already, like. You were
400
so
KC,
good.
and I think, and I had I wasn't allowed on like the proper raider team because I didn't meet the Rex. Like one of the Rex was at least 500 KC.
Oh,
Oh.
jeez.
Tier, and I did not have that, so I couldn't be one of the actual raiders. I had to be like the infantry, the people who only do the rooms. And yeah, that's the same time I did random raids with Kelp and Hi. And also kind of started the 4+1 era. With
Yeah, that was a good era, actually.
Yeah.
We did hella 4+1s.
4+1s is what got me to make an alt account in the first place, because otherwise I probably would have never made an alt.
Yep.
Yeah, actually, that's same for me. Like, I did alt just for that.
Now I don't touch 4+1s anymore. What a shame.
Nope.
Wait, what?
What's up, Okke?
I'm just looking through screenshots and seeing names that I didn't recognize at the time, but now I do. Yeah, like at like 500 KC, I was doing raids with Nuluki. Had no idea who he was at the time.
Oh. Yep, big Nuluki.
Magnotism, I think he's a tobber.
Yeah, he's
Apparently I did a
he's
raid.
a big tobber. Like,
Apparently I
records
did
and
did a chambers with him back then.
damn.
Just yeah, you could find so many random people just in We Do Raids advanced and experienced channels, because everyone was just doing money raids back then.
Yeah, also like it was really active back then. Like there was always like decent teams running 4+1s like every day.
Is it not as active
just-
these days?
I don't know. I don't check video race anymore at all. Like I don't really care.
No, it's not. Now it's just I don't know, not people I recognize anyway, except for Carino, because he's going for 20k or something. I don't know what he's up to. It's just always in the chambers.
I mean, maybe I shouldn't be talking. I'm trying to go for 4k CMKC, so.
I mean, it's CM.
Yeah.
Oh, did you raid with leaked data any at all?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Bro, I did so many raids with him.
Yep.
Damn.
He was a bot. Just
Yeah.
closing the chambers.
All right, so
And that's oh
go on. Sorry.
yeah. So leaked. Also met him just doing 4+1s, I think, or when he was already a mentor. And he made this CoX speed server.
Oh, yeah.
It's pretty damn dead these days because, well, the intended use was finding teams to do speedruns with in chambers. But as you can imagine, just LFR speedruns doesn't go very well. It was pretty
Yeah.
fun, but they weren't good. Like just getting 9 random people together, because back then we still thought 9-mans were the meta. Just getting 9 people together in a VC doing raids and figuring out procedures. That's pretty fun.
It's a commitment too, because for something like that, you kind of want to go with people who have experience, and then want to continue
Yeah.
sending, and then you start kind of picking up on the little things that everyone does. They just play off of each other.
Yeah. And that server was actually my introduction to like proper speeds. I think I had done like trios, but not 9-mans or 7-mans.
Yeah. For me, my introduction was when Hato invited me to do chamber speedruns.
Yeah.
But after I did one run, I turned it down because of anxiety. And then
Uh-huh.
eventually it would have been top speedruns because me and the boys were like, or at least Jimmy messaged me and was like, hey, you want to pod speedruns?
Cap.
I was like, sure. On one condition, and I told him that it had to be me and Dark Lord 1A or Mogoat Kirby, as everyone knows these days,
Yep.
because he was my boy, and he said yes. And after that, that's what got me into doing team speeds, because eventually I
Uh-huh.
would branch out to doing CMs and wanting to get better at that.
Right.
It's the confidence boost I needed was doing
Mm-hmm.
those top runs.
Yeah, I was also just clinging on to HiImSido, like, what the fuck do I bring to these chambers? I have no clue. Please, give me a setup. Tell me how to do this. But yeah, it's pretty easy looking back. There wasn't just no pressure because no one had any idea what they were doing.
I mean, I think to this day we still don't know what we're doing as always. Just we gotta fuck around and find out, you know?
Yeah, we have a better understanding after doing a lot of them.
Yeah, and we also have tools like simulations and stuff to make things easier as well.
Yeah, Groudizilla, he's always simming stuff.
Yeah. It's you, bro. So it's going. Hello, can you sim this? Can you sim that? Yeah.
Yeah. Like that sim that yesterday, man. Stop asking.
Hey guys, so we've been talking so much about Chambers of Xeric, so I think it's only fair if I dig a little deeper into the raid. So
Oh,
let's start off by talking about what do we enjoy about Chambers of Xeric?
Mm, I don't know, man. It's just fun. It's like if you compare to TOB, if you compare TOB and CM, TOP like speedruns are like trading between every single room. You can AFK like, oh, man. In CM, like you have to do something all the time. You don't have time to AFK. I don't know. It's
yeah.
just fun.
Continuous action.
Yeah.
It's just I like the. I don't know if you watched the Auto Block tournament on Kick. Get that.
I watched a
There
bit
was
of it.
this. Yeah. So for that tournament, they did top overall times. Like no. Yeah, just normal overall times. Couldn't trade between rooms, or you could, but you would lose time. And those were actually fun, but no one does those just because top used to be only room times. Yeah, I think that just makes top less appealing.
We're starting to move away where future content at least raid-wise, because we saw with ToA, they're starting to kind of go toward total time and not room times, which I think is good. I still think that Tab would be much better if it did like the total time and not room times, because one, doing it like that promotes, faster money raids, so that you want to actually get good at doing money raids, and then you eventually get to that point where you'd want to go for like total time record. But it seems like a lot of people are kind of set in their old ways and they want to just stick with room times, which is completely understandable. But at the same time, it's like I would hope that we'd eventually break away from that too.
Yeah, I don't think that's gonna happen in top. I think that's always gonna stay room times.
Probably.
I mean, there's one good part about it, which is all the tech you can use for every single room. And with your stats resetting and stuff. Imagine what CM would be like if you had a break before every room. Probably do some interesting stuff.
I don't think I would play if CM was like that.
No.
Like Chambers is all I do, and like nah, it would be ruined. Like nah, I'm not doing that.
I feel like the thing with Chambers though is it's filled with a lot of demi bosses, not actual bosses. I mean, obviously they're boss fights, right? Like each boss has like their own set of mechanics and stuff like that, but they're not like actual like super high HP bosses that you have to like lower the spec or like lower defense with specs and stuff like that. So it's like they're not like super long encounters; they're just short. At most, the longest encounter is probably going to be a minute 30 in a CM. But you go for those rooms so fast now. Even faster with some changes. Whereas with Tob, fights can last up to 3 minutes.
Yeah.
Also, one thing I really like is the team like coordination in CMs. Like you have in fives, you have 5 like different roles. Everybody is doing their thing. Like, I mean, it's kind of same for TOB, I guess, but like in CMs, it's like big.
Yeah, because you got your surgers, you got your prepper, you got your chainer, your crosser, and then there's obviously some like other small roles like who's picking up pots, who's doing this for crabs, who's trading bolts, etc., etc.
Yeah, that makes it like really interesting.
Yeah, 100%. I love me some prep too. I love prepping.
Yep. I haven't done any prepping like since the changes.
It's a lot smaller. I'm still trying to figure out what a good number is,
Yeah.
but for the most part, it's so much smaller now. So let's go a little deeper into the boss fights. What would you guys say is your favorite boss fight in Chambers of Xeric? Aside from Olm.
Guess Vasa. Yeah, I mean it's really simple, Vasa. But just the fact that you can kill it before a crystal, I don't know, it's just fun.
I would say it's one of the hardest rooms to execute correctly, though. Like, people sleep on it. It is the hardest room to do perfectly.
Yeah, if you mean not getting hit by any boulders, it's not that easy.
Not that easy at all.
And with shit gear, it's actually a boss fight.
Yeah.
It is. I think solo vanguards in the CM. It's so fun. Like you can't AFK. You have to gear switch like all the time. It's not the same in teams, but I don't know. In teams, maybe. It's hard. I'd say Vasa also.
I think for me, it's Vanguards and teams. Just because you have to be kind of aware of the progress of each Vanguard. And if you are one of the roamers, then you have to do a little bit of swapping. But you got to be really smart
Yeah.
about your specs too, because you want to make the most value out of your special attacks. So people would try to either Void Breaker the Range Vanguard, or the best option is of course ZC being the Mage Vanguard. But you have to coordinate who's specking, because if everyone specs or everyone hits, then the reset's gonna happen, and you'll be like, well, there goes we have to reset the run, guys. I don't have supplies to do this. Or if you're doing a speed run, then yeah, the run is over. Or even at the
Okay,
start,
yeah.
you got to be careful.
Okay, I'm gonna change my answer also. For teams, it's Vanguards. Yep.
Dude, it's a fun room. I really like it.
Yeah, it is. It is.
To do it perfectly, you have to just really pay attention to a lot of small things, as well as the HP thresholds, because a good person will notice how much damage has been done to a Vanguard, and sometimes you might have to, as bad as it is, like send a bow or send a shadow on something else, at least at the start. That's only if you guys go nuclear bow. Doesn't happen too often, but it can happen.
One like I always like not always, but I like to tell people like, bro, in teams, do you reset the vangs? Like, bro, just open your fucking eyes and watch the HP. Like, it's not that hard.
Yeah.
It's a good room to end sessions on. Yeah, reset. Okay, that's enough for today. See you guys.
Good night. Fucking resetting first floor for 1 hour, and then you have it run, ends on Vanguards. Peace.
Ah, yes. Good times.
Do you guys still know how the different banks look without the plugin? Because I have no clue.
Yeah, so the Ranger has a drum set. Not, it has rocks in its head. I remember one of my friends said it looks like it has a drum set or something like that. I'm like, but yeah, so the Major, it's like has its hands on the ground. The Mailer's got his hands like this.
He's about to slap you.
Yeah, he's gonna slap your ass, and then the Ranger's the one that's like he's got a whole bunch of rocks in his hands like this. Maybe we should do like like do a quick MS Paint and draw the Vanguards from memory and see what we all come up with.
Oh god.
Nah, it would be
I'm kidding. That would be
blue, green, and red boxes.
No, you can only use black and white, so you have to do line art. Let me pull out my tablet real quick. No. But yeah, outside of that, obviously, I'd say that I think we'd all agree that Olm is a pretty well done room, right?
Yeah. Complete accident, but probably the best boss.
Yeah, because there's a lot of jank to it, but that jank allowed for solos to be doable, and that in itself is just really fun to do and fun to watch. And of course, there's all this stuff that you can do in teams, such as skipping specials, and a lot of other things.
Mm-hmm. The thing I love about Olm is that his attack speed isn't. I mean, it's 4, but his attack speed in the game is like default. That's what they set his attack speed at, and it just worked. They didn't touch it, they just set it as default. And yeah, it just became
Wait, is
the best.
default 4 ticks?
Yeah, default is 4 ticks.
Okay.
Interesting.
Yeah, Olm is actually, it's insane. Like, they did it by accident, I guess. And there is so much you can do.
Yeah,
Like, if you think, like, part 1, like, damn. Just damn. I'm speechless, like.
All the different cycles, because there's 4-1, there's like 8-0. Like, people are always coming up with like really cool stuff, and then you had Frolls doing some things as well with all the head turning. So it's just it keeps getting better and better. And then the difference regards to solo and teams is that in teams there's more spatial awareness and trying to control where the head is going, whereas in solos there's more, just mastering all those things that make you take little to no damage, as well as maximizing your DPS and not losing ticks. And special mitigation as well, because special mitigation is very important. But yeah, I think it's just a very, very well done fight. And
It
I'm
is, yeah.
hoping in the future we get to see more things such as that or Berserk, because I feel like Berserk is also a pretty good boss. Kind of was let down a
Yeah.
little bit by ToA. I won't lie, it's just a little bit. P2 is actually good. Just P3 is like, eh.
Wait, what is wait, are you talking about Versic P2?
Now, ToA.
Oh, okay. I hate TOA.
Understandable. It kind of feels in a way like doing max F ToA is kind of akin to CMs, but the only issue with that content is the fact that some of the fights are it's like linear, right? It's linear and it feels like things don't really change as much. Because even in chambers, even if we're doing the same thing over and over again, uh, there are some differences with how things end up playing out.
Yeah.
Maybe you don't kill a
Yeah.
Vanguard at a certain time. Maybe you're getting absolutely ranched. Maybe you end up missing your spec, so you have to uh, elongate mage phase and then dump specs later. Like there's so many different things that you have to kind of prepare for.
Mm-hmm.
And then I don't know, just TOA just TOA doesn't really change as much. There isn't too much skill ceiling compared to the other two raids.
Yeah. Uh,
All
there
right.
is a lot of stuff to get good at in TOA,
Yeah, of course.
like Akka, the staircase stuff, and taking no damage, doing Kefri properly.
Yeah, because
Yeah,
Kefri and Okke are good rooms. It's just like Zebak would have been better. I always preach this, but Zebak would have been better if melee was the go-to DPS, because it would have been
yeah,
like Guardian Cycle pretty much. So it's either your same tick or your
yeah.
two ticks apart. Otherwise, someone's getting chomped.
Mm-hmm.
So like that change, like that small change in itself, would have made Zebak probably one of the most fun and scary rooms.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like they could keep range as strong as it is, just make melee better, so that way people would have a reason to bring a Siphon. Hell, they could even do an invocation for it.
Also find it a little unfortunate that it's just 5 big boss fights and none of them have actual ads. You know, Baba has the little monkeys, but you can just basically ignore them, or you slap them once and they die.
Yeah,
I wish one of those boss fights had more to deal with than just the big boss in the center.
I think that's just a relative issue with a lot of the boss fights in RuneScape, though. There isn't any bosses that have a lot of ads or a reason to go for ad clear, right? Maybe
Right,
they
fighter.
have. Oh yeah, there is Byra, but I mean, like when you look at raids, right? Okay, maybe there's an NPC
uh-huh.
you need to kill so it doesn't kill the boss, right? But Versa crabs, you don't really kill them; you just pop them, right? They're
Yeah.
just there. They're just a hazard, but there's not really anything that you kill that could potentially hard buff the boss or actually hinder your performance. You could just usually ignore a lot of stuff, unless it's something you just have to kill to prevent healing from the boss. But yeah, it would be kind of nice to see more of a like an ad clear road or the
Mm-hmm.
ad clear role in raids and just team bossing in general. Otherwise, they like have more of a threat. Maybe they'll wipe your team. Maybe they'll just beat the shit out of you guys. I don't know. There's so much that they can play with it, and you just don't see it that often. So
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why.
How do we feel about Baba Waves? Because I think I would do TOA if Baba Waves wasn't the thing. Like I just nah, I can't do that.
So there's a couple things they could do to improve it a bit. Um, One could be to make the room even smaller, get rid of the statue. Two, just make it where you're guaranteed to hit if you attack with the appropriate style. Or three, maybe reduce the HP a little bit. Just to kind of breeze through it a bit faster. I mean, it is a pretty fast now with the changes they've made. Waves go by quicker, and of course the boomers. Honestly, that was one of the greatest changes they could have ever done. just allowing us to blow up some monkeys with, this guy comes in and kaboom. It's actual dopamine when you pop like a whole group. It's like, yes, see ya, shaman.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I just think that the thing that makes Nilo nice is that you're pretty accurate and they have low HP. So you kind of go for it pretty fast. But obviously there's some other factors to Nilo too, such as the fact that the waves are, for the most part, predetermined. The only thing that's going to be random is what you hit and the splits.
Yeah, I think Nilo is like it's so nice. I don't know anything about TOB. I can't do Nilo or anything, but it's like most fun to watch when people actually know what they're doing. Like it's crazy.
Yeah, and people also integrate the use of the Din's Bulwark in duos. I don't know if they do it in trios, but they use it in duos as well to clear out one wave. And I think they could use it again in the late wave if there's a lot of melee spawns, but typically they use it once, and I was like, oh shit, that's actually really cool. They den spec as the fucking melees on, I think it's 21. They walk in, and they hit all the big melees that are right beside the pillar that are always going to be there, the aggressives, and of course the melees that are walking in. I'm just like, holy fuck.
Mm-hmm.
It's so big brain.
Could be used in Baba, but the room's too big, and
Yeah.
the spawns are too random. Like, you never know if you're gonna find a monkey spawning at the crack in the wall where you're at. You never know where the one's gonna spawn.
I think it would be a bit nicer if it's predictable, but at the same time, it's like, you do that, then everyone's just gonna, alright, everyone stand here, everyone stand there, and then,
yeah,
I don't know, I feel like the room would just be boring, because there isn't really much else after that. You just know what's gonna be there, so it's just gonna be, everyone stand here, everyone stand there, everyone hit this, everyone hit that, so it's just a memory game at that point. Simon says.
Yeah.
So I feel like if they went that approach, there needs to be something else. But I already think that just reducing the defenses a bit, or just something to make them die a little bit easier, would make the room a bit better, or just bring it closer. If it's a bit closer, that's not too bad.
Mm-hmm.
Cause
okay, fuck all the waves.
Just go straight to the bosses.
Yeah.
All right.
Straight to Nilo boss.
So that was a little bit of a sidetrack. So let's get back on track for a second. So of course we had the QoL changes, which were insane in my opinion. So what's your guys' thoughts on all the QoL changes? Like, did you like them? Did you hate them? How do you feel?
I don't like all of them. I don't like the fact that you can one tick every crab. I voted no on that, and I still think it's. I mean, if it works for you, like you made a mistake and you can recover from it because there's no delay in your action. That's nice. That feels nice. But it also takes away the skill. Feel because people were kind of bad at crabs. Like I've seen. I don't want to throw shade at like Rasta and Soka and stuff, but looking at their crabs sometimes, like they brought in a Sang just to do crabs easier because it was too difficult with the shadow. But it's if you're good at crabs, you can just do it with a shadow. And
yeah,
now
shout out shots.
Shout out shots, big shots.
Yep.
Glad he's in a wheelchair.
What?
But no.
Shots okay?
No, you cannot.
He's okay. He's okay. But
Holy fuck.
But yeah, you basically can't make mistakes at crabs anymore, except for smashing them in the wrong place. But
that's the worst, and I do that too many times in solos. That's why we stay out of solos.
And while I like the changes at Ice Demon and Thieving, it feels nice having those rooms be that fast, but just took away a lot of the banking, which I thought was a very cool part about CM. and something you can get good at. Like withdrawing, depositing the right stuff in just a couple ticks. Not many people can do that, but everyone can have one invent space and just start thieving.
Yep. That's the one thing I kind of am sad about, because I've made videos on it. I've practiced it. I've learned the art of banking, because that was the one challenge going from prep to other roles, was like figuring out how to bank, and I had to learn all that and all the little neat tricks I could do, like organizing my inventory right as we're getting into the final chest before Olm, just so when I hit withdraw all, hey look, there's the 4 items that I want to bank. Just because I put 2 things there, now I have all the items I want to bank right beside each other, and I quickly bank those, and then right in. Now it's like, don't really need to do that as much, because it's only a few items in there. Or at ice or at thieving, you don't really have to bank too much either. It's just so much easier. And I will say that is a good thing, at least in the sense for people that are new to it, because then they don't. It's a lot easier for people to get into CMs, max up CMs now. You don't have to worry too much about banking. But the downside is those veterans, they love the skill of banking, and now it's just gone. And that kind of gets rid of some of the charm of CMs.
Yep.
So it's like a double-edged sword, I'd say.
Read.
What about Mudadal?
It's bugged.
Wait, Mudadal's bugged?
I don't know, man. Go on, Okke.
Yeah, I don't do a lot of solos. Actually, I've never done a no prep solo CM. Actually, so I can really comment on. Yep, I got the GM time just prepping. But yeah, in teams it's nice. I like that it takes away a lot of prep time. Like you can have really fast second floors and have prep be on time.
Yeah.
Which is nice. And while I like the tree, like they kind of just got rid of a mechanic for teams by allowing the freeze. But it feels nicer. Being able to just send floor 3 with only a couple brews, not get completely fucked on the tree like a 17 to a 30, you're dead. No chance.
Yeah, because the big issue with Mudadal is just the amount of damage it does, and there's not really much you can do to counteract it. So you could go in and still die. Like, you can literally just die and there's nothing you can do, because you can just get stacked out. If the Mudadal decide to just focus you and they just max you, you're just dead while you're chopping the tree. No counterplay. And then at least for solos, chopping seemed to be prevalent for a bit, but it seems that people are moving on to ZGSing both Mudadals now in solos. So now it's like you're taking a lot less damage from the small mutt because you don't have to chop tree anymore. And of course you still have to surpass 50% on Mama Mutt before she stops attacking you, but you might miss your ZGS. That can still happen in teams, but in solos it's much more brutal. So, well, I will note. Oh, sorry. Go on.
I would have liked to see what chopping was like with the damage balance, because they kind of just hit us with both of those. They improved chopping and then made it obsolete at the same time. But yeah, overall, I like just being able to freeze mud, even though it's RNG. Like, you can get fucked in the Zieges, but hey, that's the name of the game.
We play a game that runs a bunch of 0s and 1s.
Yep.
And we still love it.
Exactly.
What else? There was also the Vasa change, but I mean, just makes it for getting no crystal is easier, and if it does get on the crystal, then you pretty much negate healing. So it's more of a giant effect on solos than it is teams, but for whatever reason, if your DPS is bad, or if you're raiding with some newbie friends, then the room is just a lot easier now. But it also drops an overload too. The potion changes too. What are you guys' thoughts on the potion changes, now that I think about it?
I
think I
I
also
kinda
voted.
yeah, go on. Sorry.
I also voted no to both of those. But in hindsight, I kind of like that it does enable more scouts.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think it's a good change.
it's made it where VSV is actually a really good scout now. Um, of course, you have the other changes where everyone can see pots too. So it's like you can have assigned roles for who can pick up pots, or if you don't have space, someone else can pick up pots. You don't have to ever worry about prep sniping the melee vanguard anymore too, which is
Oh
so
yeah.
nice. They can camp melee vanguard now if they wanted to. Um, and also the fact that you can see your own pots, which in a way is good and bad. Because in masses, there have been times where dickheads been stealing my staminas now. Fuck them. Um, and the other thing is you have to be kind of smart about what you drop, so
Oh
that
yeah.
you don't accidentally try to grab pots that someone else dropped, because that can get pretty confusing. So it's like, okay, bring like 10 or 20 ruby bolts for a session, drop them, and then that way no one can see them. So
Yep.
in a way that sucks, but at the same time, it's if someone needs a potion like on the fly, you can drop it for them, and that's actually really nice. There have been a few instances where someone's like, I need a brew. Okay, they drop the brew for them, and then it's just like
Hmm.
easy. No trading, no heal other, none of that. So fucking
Yeah.
nice.
No getting cooked by falling rocks while you're trying to trade
Yeah.
in Olm. That's so annoying. Like trade me, and then you get a rock on your head, and the trade doesn't go through, and okay, you're dead because I can't
Yeah.
help you.
Oh, that's actually pretty beneficial for no preps as well,
Right.
like normal CoX, no
Yeah.
preps. Because in CMs, obviously you're gonna have raid pots by that point, but in like normal raids, if you're doing no preps,
Hmm.
you'll probably have some normal, like actual normal potions, not raid pots. So you could drop those now. It's like, yes, Pog.
Yeah. Exactly.
So opens up like a whole doorway for tactics, which is nice.
Hmm.
Um, Overall though, I felt like the CoX changes brought a little bit of life into chambers for new people and speedrunners alike. But at the same time, I felt like I don't know. I don't really see as much speed running outside of solos as I'd like to see. I thought more people were gonna be like, yeah, let's fucking pot teams, but I don't know. I didn't really see too much of that, which is like, what the heck?
Yeah.
It's actually a
It's
brick
it.
wall to get team these days. Like
Yeah,
it's mostly solo, but yeah,
it's just crazy to
I
me,
guess.
right? I assumed like
I
PvMer and the
mean,
boys were gonna pull up, but it's just been like only a few teams have been potting, and it's just like, what the hell's going on?
yeah. I mean, fuck, we did one sesh after the changes, and that's it.
Yeah,
Can't get the team no more.
No, maybe if the content creators start doing some team raids, because all you see on Twitch is just solo reg,
Yeah.
solo CM, and no one streams reg teams. Like Hisoka has been doing reg duos, but he didn't stream any of them. Pretty
yeah,
sure.
those are
Like why
shady.
not?
Shout out to my boy Shady.
Yeah, they got a cracked raid. Would have been cool if it wasn't streamed.
Bro, I
Um.
remember when okay, I don't want to like throw shade or anything, but when we were running the last time we ran sevens, there was like no way you can stream these, and I'm like, what the fuck do you mean I can't stream? Of course I'm gonna stream these, man. You gotta let me stream these. The only caveat was I wasn't gonna reach out, so I turned off all the stuff. So that ended up working out, but they were like, you're gonna
Yeah.
get distracted. Bro, have you seen my CMPBs while I'm on stream? I know when to be distracted and when not to be. I will not reach out if I am focused. I will fucking hyper. Obviously, I try to reach out as much as I can, but when I'm like hyper focused, like I'm looking at that game, I'm focused on not losing ticks and stuff. I'm only gonna glance over if I know a special's not coming. Even that is a struggle sometimes, but I always try to focus on my gameplay um, first whenever I'm doing content like that, and then chat comes second. I think I think chatters can understand that,
Yeah.
or I'd hope so. Because if I want to look like Hunter Owner dying every room, then I'll just spend 90% of my attention reading chat. But that's not who I am. I have to play to what I felt like is an acceptable level. All right, so the last question on this topic I'm gonna ask is, what would you change about Chambers if you had full control over the raid? What would you change?
At the moment,
Yeah.
maybe nothing. Maybe less overloads, because that was one like kind of big part of the prep in like fives. If you needed to do overload or not,
That
there
is
is
true.
just so many overloads in the raid, like it's crazy. Other than that, maybe nothing actually. It feels okay.
It's one of the reasons I voted no to fast and fast dropping overloads. Just the fact that 90 herblore becomes kind of useless.
Yeah.
Like, only time you're gonna prep ovals is in, well, I guess a guard miss sham scout and masses. But
Yeah.
in every other raid, you just have your overloads.
Either you have your overload TOA or you don't have overloads TOB.
Yeah.
See, that's the thing. I think it's just the skill as a whole is just undervalued as a main account because all the potions that you really need for PvM, you just buy them. You don't have to make them yourself. And I think it's just a problem with the skill and not really. Like, it's an Iron Man skill. Like, on top of everything, it is an Iron Man skill.
Uh-huh.
There is always the opportunity for them to introduce untradeable potions in the future. When? I don't know. I know they've been talking about, hey, they've been adding some potions that seem like stuff that they're going to add to a potential overload in the future. Because we had that Menify remedy and they said that would be a recipe for an overload. But they haven't really said much about it other than that.
No.
So that's probably like, what, 3-4 years down the line maybe? And by then we'll probably move on to a different game. Or, I don't know, be married, have a wife and kids, be a CEO of our own startup company, or pole dancing because everything went downhill in our lives and we need to make money to keep.
Great.
Oh geez, that was a bit of a sidetrack, but what would you change though, Okke, aside from is there anything else you'd want to change aside from the massive amount of overloads?
Change about Chambers. I don't know. One thing I don't really like is the amount of running. It feels makes the rates slow, but nah. Actually, it's fine because that just gives you time to rearrange stuff in your invent and just catch your breath. No, I don't think there's anything that really changed right now. Oh.
I think there are two things that change probably.
What's that?
So one for Olm, I felt like that teleport change was a start, but that bitch is still Narnia, so I would try to put it a bit closer. So if it teleports you a couple tiles away, at least for solos. And then for actually, there's one more change I'd make. Consistency with how the crystal drops, because during transition phase or during head phase, it is like kind of annoying. Like, hey, it's scuffed Olm, so we have an extra tick to dodge it. I would want it to just be consistent. So either it's going to be its normal speed or scuff speed, like whichever. Just make it consistent. I'm not sure if it's possible for them to do it because I think they use something called controllers for how it determines how the crystals drop. And if certain IDs are like, if one ID is higher than the other or whatever, the order's different. That's what ends up happening where it like processes it a tick later than normal. And the thing is like, hey, it might start off as a normal Olm and then it gets scuffed because of IDs changing throughout the encounter.
Right.
Same thing with Maiden, where, oh yeah, it's not scuffed, and then it gets scuffed because IDs. It's not much they could do about that. Unless they,
Yeah.
I don't know, they'd have to do some engine work. And I don't see them wanting to spend assloads of time to make those changes, because I feel like that would be a fucking huge engine change.
I feel like they have the capability to fix that. Because
Yeah.
if looking at ToA, nothing there is fucked timing wise, right? Like
Yeah,
some I've
one
never seen.
there's one overly jank thing at ToA. Other than that, the timers are fine. But again, I'm not sure what they do to control some of the events and all the environmental stuff or the damage that you take. It might not be controllers like at Olm, because there's a lot of things happening at Olm.
Imagine the cum face being a tick off, something.
Yeah,
or
but
the waves at Zebak.
the Zebak waves sometimes disappear, but I think it's just too many people at once issue.
Yeah.
And then the biggest problem is Okke, where the whole cursed thing, where it'll randomly pick someone at the start, even if you wait to go in.
Oh, right. Yeah.
And that's for
is a
big
thing.
teams. I don't know what causes that. No one
I
knows
haven't
what
done any
causes that.
tickets recently, so
Every time
One
I
thing,
try to do
yeah,
butterfly, it fucking picks someone else. I'm like, okay, never mind.
yeah.
I really like the like when Olm is scuffed or unscuffed, because like you can do different things depending if it's like unscuffed or scuffed.
Yeah.
That's really interesting. Like you have to do like flame wall dodge, for example. Like you have to do it different.
Yeah,
That's
because you have
like
an extra tick to actually dodge it
yeah,
instead of having to
yeah,
like dodge it on the exact tick it comes out.
yeah.
But I don't know, it's like in some ways it's cool, like, oh yeah, it's scuffed, or you notice it's scuffed so you can do stuff. But at the same time, having it be consistent just means that you never have to really worry about stuff like that. And
Yeah.
having it not be that one thing, such as scuffed crystals dropping on your head, compared to normal crystals, is just like, it just sucks. 'Cause maybe you'll have an easier time compared to this time where you have one tick less and you're just getting ass blasted. Obviously, that's haha player mistake, but still.
Mm.
I would rather just be consistent and not up the chance. Just because you decide to raid on a busy day or something. I don't know. The one last thing I would probably change, though, is with Mudadal. And it's just with how you pray against the damage. I think it would be kind of nice if it was comparable to Zabak, where you have a chance to turn your prayer on before the projectile hits you.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not sure how other people feel about that. I think it'd be nice, because then you can actually protect against the hits a bit easier, compared to, hey, it's guaranteed to do 3 minimum attacks before it could potentially change. Just seems like an odd change. I mean, it is nice because it's like, okay, you get hit by one mage, okay, you pray mage it for the next 2 attacks and then back to range. But still, I just think letting you swap prayers before the attacks, just because it's high damaging attacks, would make it a little bit more lenient.
Yeah, but that gives you the problem of it being inconsistent with the rest of the raid.
I guess, yeah. Because there's nothing else in the room that is like that.
Yeah.
But, I mean, look at Tob. There's some consistencies and inconsistencies there. Like, look at look at Verzik P3. It's not like that at Maiden, it's not like that at Nilo Boss. So, it's not always a bad thing, I guess.
Right.
Who knows, though?
Yeah, game's weird.
Game is weird.
It is. It is.
Alright, so let's move out of Chambers of Xeric. Let's quickly talk about, what do you guys enjoy outside of the Chambers of Xeric?
I have been doing some pet hunting lately.
Ooh.
It's pretty fun, like alting stuff and like playing multiple accounts at the same time.
Yeah.
It's pretty fun. I have been enjoying that a lot. I have mostly like solo pets left, so I'm not really not really looking forward to that. But yeah,
One of the
I hate skilling, but yeah.
one of the coolest things is a solo court because there's this guy named Wheelchair, and he runs with like fucking 14 accounts or some shit, and watching his POVs is just insane.
Yeah, I can imagine Holy.
It's crazy.
But yeah, outside of chambers, it's mostly like pet hunting.
That is fair. What about you, Oki?
Um, Not much really. I like to do fight caves, like in the summer. I enjoyed
Didn't you
that.
beat Rasta, man?
I did, yeah.
Yeah, get fucked,
Um,
Rasta.
Goat.
I like doing that, but at some point it just gets annoying. Like you hit a barrier, like a time barrier, where it's only just RNG really. Like you can't improve much more. Like, I feel like I'm doing everything right, not missing any ticks, but you're just not getting the times because your bow noodles. And at that point, I'm like, ah, fuck this. I don't have the mental for that. I can't just, yeah, reset caves all day. That's not me. Uh, Respect to Pahiz and Rasta for being able to do that. But
Yeah, I mean, I gotta give it to him just for the fact that Ross is able to send so many runs on a daily basis for Infernos, Fight Caves, and CMs because I don't have the mental to do that. So
Yeah.
they got some Stonewall mental, but at the same time, it's all about how much free time do you have too. Do you have a lot of free
yeah,
time? Do
not
you want to
enough.
spend most of it resetting, or do you want to go out for a walk?
Yeah, and I don't have the accounts either. I have one account.
Yeah.
Bro,
Don't have.
like the mental is insane. Like, bro, I do like 2 solo CMs a day, and nah, I can't do this no more. Like, it's crazy.
All I'm saying is if I ever put a slow CM mark on stream, it's just gonna be me just sending every run, and it's just gonna be fucking memes. If I die, it's just gonna be I'm just gonna do some dumb shit, and I'll probably be reading chat instead of actually focusing on the run. But we'll see. Maybe I'll get good at it to the point where I'm like, all right, let's focus up if it's a good run. But otherwise, it's just gonna be, laid back. You know, maybe maybe we should pull out the whiskey. Saw that worked out pretty well for you, Tofi.
It did, yeah.
Oh my god. It was like I wish I could have actually watched it for longer, but I was like in the middle of my stream, so I had your stream open on the side and I was like peeping what was going on. It was looking pretty well though.
No, it was lost.
Okay. So, I am speaking to current world record holders for CM, and of course, the winners of the Speedrun Cup that was hosted by Eevescape a few months ago. So,
Mhm.
tell me, how did you guys enjoy participating in the Speedrun Cup?
Oh boy. Um,
Oh shit.
it was kind of fun, but also not. The format was very different from what they did previously. Previously, it was like you get X amount of attempts to get a good run, and if you don't get one, bad luck. But this time it was more like a bingo. You had one full week to send attempts, as many as you like, and you submit your best attempt. And I just started a new job before I agreed to pot that. Uh, and I'm a guy who likes to sleep a lot. I need my 8 hours at least. Uh, so grinding for that just to get the best possible time, and took a lot. a lot out of me. Was fun, but yeah, took a toll.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I could definitely see that. I wish I could sleep more, honestly. I'm the person that works off of like probably 5 or 6 hours of sleep every day. I wish I could sleep more. It just body's like, no, sleep.
Damn.
I was kinda in the same boat as Oak. I was full time working, and I need my 8 hours sleep. Like I'm just dead if I don't. So yeah, it was kind of hard to find the time. I was putting after the work, absolutely fucking toasted. And like the first 2 weeks were rough. Like they were actually rough. I came from work. I did speedrun. Yeah, I took the last the final after we knew that we were in finals. I took the week off.
Oh.
Just to put fucking RuneScape.
Respect.
And my aunt had a wedding on Saturday that final week, and yep, I had to go there. And well, I left early to put fucking RuneScape.
I'm not gonna lie, I was expecting you to say like you were potting on mobile, but I was like, nah. Probably not.
Nah,
That would have been a fucking hilarious twist, but damn.
but it was like really rough for me at least. Because finding the time to pot is like we had I think we had most employed uh, players in the team, so it was hard to find the time to pot with the team sometimes. But yeah, it was rough.
That seems very that's eye-opening a bit because I didn't really think too much about the whole, hey, I have a job. I knew it was a big time investment, but I also didn't think like too much about like you have a job and you like literally clock in or clock out of your 9 to 5 to clock into your next 9 to 5, which is speed running.
Yeah. Wasn't even what was I gonna say? The thing about job and doing that at the same time, it's not just the time you're on the job that robs you of time you can spend on the game, but also just commuting is one thing, and of course being fucking tired after you get home.
Yeah, because
Like
either
I've
physically or
been
mentally draining or both.
yeah, and then you gotta put up with those guys who've been just sitting on their ass all day playing video games. They're screaming at you because you're not getting the best ticks. Can be difficult.
I think we did good, Oak, in the tournament. Like
Yeah,
I'm happy. I'm happy.
yeah.
What you guys said, like the others on your team, though, they were pretty supportive, or were they screaming at you as you were just explaining now?
No, I
Nah,
mean, yeah.
it's all memes.
Bro,
I mean,
I've heard some of those comms. I've heard some of those comms, bro. Those comms, a little sussy. Speaking from
it's
experience
just
as well. When we were fucking potting those sevens, and I had Discord muted on stream, and Shots was making those interesting noises.
What the fuck? I have never heard him do that.
what noises? Was he singing or
Yeah.
farting?
It was farting. I'm pretty sure it was farting.
Oh my.
He likes to do those things, sing and fart.
I need to give that man a whoopee cushion if I ever see him IRL. But yeah, gotta applaud you again on a very hard-earned, well-deserved win, even if
Thank you.
it was a very
I don't know
difficult
about
week.
that.
Wait, what?
I mean, like I'm surprised that we actually won. Like we were underdogs. There was some crazy fucking gamers in other teams. And
The final round, when it came down
bro,
to numbers, oh my
that
god,
was insane. The
you
GOAT, Dio, and his team, like, damn. That was like, kind of dream.
basically
Holy.
defeated the Godfather of Prep.
Yeah, for real.
Obviously, at the
Like,
end of the day, it's always gonna be RNG. So it's like who gets better RNG after sending as many runs. But still, just being able to be like, you went head to head with one of the best preppers or best CMers in the game, and to win is still like insane.
I was so ready to give up, like, at some point. I don't remember, like, it was late for me, and we were running fives. And I was like, nah,
Yeah.
I'm not doing this shit anymore. Like, I'm so done. But, yeah.
But he kept sending runs anyway,
Yeah.
and you guys got the win.
I think that was, like, great ending for the tourney.
I felt like it
Oh
couldn't
yeah, it
have
was
ended.
good content.
It couldn't have ended any better because it's like this is content that everyone knows Deo and them are like super good at. Of course, they're pioneers, but you guys were the record holders at the time, so it was
Yeah.
like head to head, Obliv versus Sanity, who would win? And obviously, we got the answer.
Yeah. I remember when I started doing CMs and I had to look at the board, like the global best. All those times were cheated, or like, how the fuck do you get times like that? That was those guys who we beat. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, I could never see myself
Also,
doing that.
like, we knew the CM result, so after we saw the, like, order
Yeah.
of the bosses, we knew that we won. That was kinda, like, I don't know the word.
Anticlimactic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because
it
we
was-
knew that we won the CM.
You
So,
can just look
yeah.
at the board. We knew we won that, and if they put at last, then it's
There is
logical to think that
there is no way they are going.
they're not gonna show it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Of all the bosses, though, which one would you say was like, as your team, like what was the hardest one for your team?
um, on the mental, probably Nightmare.
Really?
Yeah, that was hard. Yep. That was insanely hard, actually.
So much resetting.
Jeez. How much resetting
Yeah,
do you guys do for Nightmare?
it's. I think we, at least at some point, we just started resetting every time we got husks.
Oof.
So 50% of every P1 got a reset. And then if P1 wasn't a 33 or lower, reset.
Oh my god, that just sounds brutal.
Was it like second round? We got like fucking insane time.
Yeah, that's
To
when we got the
33. Like, bro, we were like, nah, we have to get like sub 20, 250 or whatever. Like, it was hard.
And remember,
yeah, we got a
go on.
we got a 243 on
Yeah.
the second like the semifinals.
That shit is
And
fucking unbeatable.
yeah, and the record at the time was like a 3 something. So yeah.
I mean, people didn't really hard send it after Shadow came out, right? So it kind of
No.
left it open for people to go for the wreck if people actually tried.
Yeah, but who tries Nightmare 5's record?
No one.
Be
Yeah.
real.
People are bored, or people are like, "Hey, this is a quick, easy wreck. Let's go get it." Because that's what I did when the CM5 change happened. I was like, "Let me go pull up the boards real quick, cause no one's potting. This is the easy wreck."
Yep.
But shout out Hemis for beating Rastaman, the
Oh,
current
bro.
Infernar rec holder. Twice.
Oh my
Wait,
god.
no, wait,
That was the crazy
bro.
part.
Yeah, that was so insane.
Like,
Holy.
you'd think that it's just game over when you're facing off against that
Yeah.
man in Inferno. No. Hemi's beat him. And that
Him
was
is the
just
goat.
insane. Hemi's is the goat. I miss him. I miss Hemi's.
Rest in peace.
He's not dead. He's just.
Oh, oh my bad.
Oh my god.
My bad.
I just spoke with him this morning, man. He was asking me like how do I run or whatever. I'm like, I haven't been running because the weather's been shit.
Oh, and you miss him already. It's cute.
Anyway, moving on. Alright, so did you guys ever think that you'd ever hold the records that you hold to this day? For CM5s, for overall
No.
CoX? No?
Never.
Sam, never. No.
How does it
it-
feel to be said record holders? To be the trend, well, I don't want to say trendsetters, but of course, like, you did set the trend with the tiles for thieving and some other cool stuff with the new CM rec. So I do have to say there was some trend setting there. But of course there was some pioneering from a lot of people in the community. So it's just like from the big dogs in the CM community and just Chambers community in general. There's a lot of pioneering and just stuff going around. But yeah, how does it feel to be record holders as of now?
To be honest, okay, sorry, go on.
Not that special, honest. Like when I wasn't, I really looked up to the people who were the record holders, and I was like, oh my, I want that, I want that. But now that I have those records, it's like, okay, cool, but there's like no competition. Yeah, it feels a little empty because it doesn't feel like many people are going for it. It's winning a trophy without fighting for it. I wish more people would pot it.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like the drive for some people is just kind of not there anymore. Because you don't really even see Deo anymore. I think he's doing other stuff right
Yeah.
now. He gave a. He's just. I don't really haven't seen him like much on the game these days.
I don't think he plays anymore.
Yeah, I think he's just focused on. He's focused on life, which is a good thing.
Good for him.
But yeah, he is the goat of the CMs. Like, he has done so much for the CM vibes community, I guess.
He's done a lot, like even for top.
Yeah,
He's done a lot
yeah.
for top too.
Just insane gamer, it's crazy. I don't really feel anything about getting wreck. There is no competition anymore. Yeah, I don't know. It's nice, but doesn't feel like anything special.
Yeah, it's like in the moment it feels good, but after that,
Yeah,
it's just like,
of course.
okay.
Yeah.
Because that's how I felt when we got the few world record overall times for Chambers of Zurich. For me, I was like, yes, we did it. But after that, I was like, okay, it's not something I want to go around and gloat about. But then again, I'm not really the type that likes to gloat about achievements. I could feel proud about an achievement. I think that my proudest achievement was completing the Oblivion Diary once. But other than that, it's like, okay, if I get a really good time on something, yes. But other than that, it's just it's whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I don't want these PBs to. I don't want to be that guy that's gets a crazy PB and then I just start flaunting it around like I have a big cock, because I don't have a big cock, man. I'm pretty sure my cock is average size. Anyway, moving on.
Okay. Okay.
Cut that out. Cut that out.
Nah.
All right. So we have one last thing we're gonna go through, and it's gonna be talking about future of the game. So obviously there are some topics that I have here. So we'll start off with the big one, the Colosseum and Varlamore. What's your guys' thoughts on that?
What? To be honest, every single update we have in the game, I have no clue what is going on. Like, I don't really care about like the updates. I just play the game as it is.
I mean,
Um,
fair.
yeah. I don't. Man, it's. I don't know. It is what it is. It happens. Whatever. I play the content. Yeah, that's about it.
I don't remember too much from what the blog was about. I listened to it once while on a walk, but yeah, I don't really do much besides chambers, and I haven't even touched the game in the past week. So
I can give you
Respect,
like a brief TLDR if you guys want.
yeah, go for it.
Okay,
please.
so Colosseum is designed to kind of mix in elements of roguelikes. If you've ever played games like The Binding of Isaac, Enter the Gungeon, Crypt of the Necrodancer, just to name a few. There's obviously a whole genre of roguelike games. Maybe you've played it, maybe you've heard of them, maybe you've seen them. If not, then TLDR is you go into a run and you can find random power-ups. Maybe the layout is randomly generated, etc., etc. So every run that you do is going to be different from the other. Now I think their approach with it might be bad because from what they said, or at least what I've read,
Oh yeah,
they're pitching debuffs, and I think that is terrible. We've
right.
seen what they can do with leagues and feeling super powerful. I think having a combination of buffs and debuffs would be a good thing. So that way you could feel strong and then you have like a debuff, and then you feel strong again and then there's a debuff. Maybe there's at some point because they want to do like an endless mode, where you can't get any stronger and the enemies continue getting stronger and stronger. Completely fine with that. But I just think for a roguelike, it would be really fun if you could create that god build or come up with some really stupid builds. So I'm hoping they let you pick buffs because that will make the content a much more entertaining. But anyway, yeah, they're combining roguelike elements with the concept of Fight Caves Inferno, so it's that solo wave-based challenge. The difference is this time though is there's monetary gain, so at any point you can leave, and based on where you are, you'll walk out with loot. Obviously, the big payout's going to be if you complete the final wave and then you end it. But if you keep going and going and then you leave, bigger payout. If you die, your payout's gone. So it's risk and reward.
Yeah.
Um,
Okay.
and then briefly going through the rewards, new barriers range cape lets you store your bolts and arrows. Huge. Inventory space saved with CMs and just other content. That's just fucking huge. So it's gonna be big for ToA and CMs. Recoil boots, which yeah, recoil boots. So they're gonna give you something that lets you combine it with I think guardian boots to do recoil damage, which could potentially be pretty strong, but could also be pretty weak depending on what you're doing. Oh, and the other thing for the best in stat range cape too, it gives you more max hits in combination with the range ring, so there might be more use with that ring, because you get mad max hits now. I think like 3 max hits in CMs or something like that. They're adding in fire runes or sunfire runes that give you a min hit for stuff like fire surge, so that's like a slight buff to fire surge. And I think the ranged dragon warhammer as well, which it is capped to I think it was like half of a defense, 50% defense. I think it was is what you drain into. But yeah, it's kind of a TLDR of the content. So we'll start off. What do you guys think about a roguelike Inferno? Do you think that'd be fun?
Sounds cool.
That's good.
I mean, more like if it's like difficult, yeah, why not?
It kind of reminds me
More
of
content.
in RS3 you have Telos. Many people might know it. It kind of sounds similar with the risk and reward stuff. Like you can quit now, take your loot, or you can continue and risk it.
Yeah.
And well, that boss is one of the most loved bosses in RS3. It's just cool system. And the roguelike, yeah, I think it's a good way of making runs unique. Just the invocation issue, like, are there gonna be um, effects that will never be turned on because they're so hindering? Like double trouble or something like that. People basically never turn it on except for challenge runs because it just limits you so much and you gain basically nothing from it.
Yep.
We have that problem with effects. Like, there's just gonna be a couple you always pick, which, yeah, that's something they'll have to be careful of designing it. And like you said, the debuffs, that doesn't feel fun. If it
No one likes
only
debuffs.
debuffs you, yeah, like you can't prayer flick anymore or something. You'll always drain prayer, or your prayer drains 10 times faster. That's not fun. I don't want to play that.
Yeah, like people would rather play content that they can feel strong in, and then if they want to make the enemies stronger too, that's fine because it's gonna have an endless mode, right? You can't have them be the
Mhm.
same difficulty the whole time. You have to add debuffs to it. I know in games like Nuclear Throne, that's another roguelike I used to play. What they do is they
Mhm.
have something called looping, so you just keep going and going, and they'll just add a percentage amount of HP to the enemies. I think they still do the same damage, but they also spawn in more enemies too.
Mhm.
Not sure if there are other games that have too many looping stuff because I know, like, for example, Binding of Isaac, it just ends. Like the run is over. You get your ending and the run is over, unless there's some sort of loop mechanic I'm not aware of. But from what I've seen,
Mhm.
it's just you do your run, you're done. So obviously the easiest thing to do is just give it more HP, give it more damage, um, or just add more buffs to the boss or the enemies, which is fine. Just just don't debuff us to hell. That's all I ask.
Yeah, some debuffs could be cool if they can like work around it by playing well. Like if you stand in this part of the arena, you attack one tick slower, so you gotta book it to the other side while getting attacked, or I don't know, just random stuff. Like debuffs are cool, but not for an entire run. I don't want to spend 2 hours with a 6 tick bow or something. That doesn't feel fun.
Oh god.
Nah, or you can't heal above half HP. Nah, just give me double HP or something. That's much more fun.
Motherfucking Torva.
Yeah,
Old
sir.
Torva.
I'm so lost with this shit. Like I haven't read anything about the new changes. Like I hate power creep, but
What?
when
Dude.
they like I wasn't really fond of like when they released ToA and like Shadow and shit. I wasn't really fond of that. But when it came out, I was like, okay, yeah, this is fun for chambers. Like having to learn new like solo matron, for example. But yeah, I don't know. I don't really need read the blogs anymore. I just new content comes in, I do it for a bit, and that's it. I bought chambers.
Yeah. I will say the rewards aren't as impactful. They don't feel too. The cape is gonna be good. I feel the cape is gonna be really good. But the other items, like a ranged dragon warhammer, in theory could be pretty good at some places. But someone mentioned, I think it was No Monkey mentioned 2 places that it could have been good at. Apparently, you can't drain a defense of said NPCs. Zucka's one of them,
Oh,
and
yes.
Olm Head is another.
Mm-hmm.
So already,
Oh,
it
you
just
can drain Olm head defense.
can you?
Pretty sure.
No, that's lost. Huh?
I thought people were they were trying to use bone crossbow in the mega skills and didn't work,
Oh shit.
right?
No, I think there was another issue. Not that you can't drain the defense, but that it's capped or
Oh, I think
just
they were doing
an
circle,
issue with the
right?
special attacks. Like you're only the first hits or some it only drains if it hasn't been drained yet. That kind of thing.
Oh, so you can
Yeah,
drain it on
Yeah,
the
I
first
mean,
hit.
yeah, limiting factors like that.
yeah, I mean that's cool. Like you can't hit all your hammers even if you're on the same tick. Since the Tecton update, because it's like bit if you hit your hammer or no.
Yeah,
But
so
like,
guess it could be good, but I don't know.
yeah, maybe.
Someone fucking brings it and starts using that fucking mystics to lower the defense.
Yeah. But yeah, it just doesn't seem worth the slot, that item.
I
It's
mean,
50%.
yeah, I mean, you're gonna get a free slot just because of bolts not being a thing anymore, because you'll just have it in
Yeah,
your pouch. But then again, you might start bringing the range ring because you get max hits and accuracy more than what we've got right now. Because new cape, and I think that's like an additional 12 accuracy right there, and then you bring in that Venator ring on top of that, so it's like an additional. I don't know what Venator ring's accuracy is, but it'd be like 12 plus whatever Venator is. So there'd be a huge boost in range accuracy right there.
like
Yeah.
when you can bring your arrows and bolts in the raid, like again, like you don't have to have that team coordination in chambers.
Yeah.
Because I'm a chamber bot. Like you don't have to do trades or anything. Like yeah,
Then again, I just
it's
feel
lost.
like for me, it gives you an opportunity to bring something else, which is always
Yeah,
nice.
of course, of course.
So there is a trade-off because trading is just another aspect of team coordination, which is always kind of cool because like okay, so this is the most ideal time to trade without losing time,
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
which is always cool to see. The boots as well. I could see them being good because I think how it works is if you take damage, it recoils it back. I'd have to look at it again, but at the same time, I feel like there might be some instances where it'll probably be useless because I think it's based on how close you are to the southwest tile. But I have to read the blog again because it has been a hot minute since I've read the blog.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's kind of bad because I don't read the blogs. I have no clue like about the change they are going to or like going to make or whatever. So like I don't really care about the updates.
I mean, I
I
still
just wanna
do because
I just wanna play the game.
I still care somewhat because I love this game and I plan I still plan to play it from time to time even if in all honesty I've been addicted to other stuff lately so I haven't been playing as much, but it's fine. In the future we'll be
Yeah,
back into it.
it says it will inflict recoil damage to NPCs in a 3x3 square around the wearer. So it's probably southwest stuff.
Yeah, I'm gonna assume it's Southwest unless it's like Scythe, but could be potentially good for rooms like Nilo. But it also depends on how much damage you're reflecting back.
Mm-hmm.
Could also be good if everyone just standing southwest of like P3 Berserk taking melees or something for the extra damage.
Yep.
So it could lead to some interesting play there. but it's something that could either be completely useless or super overpowered, depending on how it's implemented.
Mm-hmm.
Only time will tell.
Yep.
Yeah, we never know.
Never know. That's what the Sims are for. Let's get grotty on it.
Yes, sir.
Roddy, please.
Alright, so there's also Project Rebalance. We'll just go over the small changes or some of the things that they talked about. I'm not going to go over the whole blog. Alright, so the two big ones, or three big ones, is the Fang nerf. So no slash bonus on it. Or at least it doesn't double the accuracy roll on that. Scythe accuracy increase. And then, last but not least, the nerf to Voidwaker, which is kind of up in the air. Don't really know how they're gonna change it, but you'd probably expect it to be a nerf to the special attack, like how much, like how much special attack cost is.
Yeah.
So, what's your guys' thoughts on those?
Fang nerf good. That shit's
Agreed.
way too good for something that's so common.
Mm-hmm.
Scythe accuracy buff good. Feels like a shitty mega rare this right now. Like definitely the worst of the three. So it could use some love. And yeah, it's pretty damn inaccurate. So seems like a good fix. And what's the last thing?
The Voidwaker nerf. Which
The
is
Void
still up in
Maker.
the air.
I mean, it's kind of it's pretty similar to Claws, right? Like to Claws on zero defense or something.
Yeah, it's like Claws has more potential.
Yeah.
And you'll see it more like everywhere but ToA, because ToA everyone has high defense. So that's where the Voidwaker
Yeah.
shines. Like next, ToA is where Voidwaker's good, whereas Claws you'll see it pretty much everywhere else. It's got use in CMs now too. Like Voidwaker's got
Yeah.
use in CMs now too.
But it dominates in PvP, and that's why they're nerfing it, I assume.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think
Easiest
like yeah, go on. Sorry.
Okay.
You go.
Well, the easiest answer would be like nerf it just for PvP.
Yeah,
right?
that's what I'd say. There are so many things
Yeah.
you can do to nerf in a PvP. Maybe make it where it's not guaranteed to hit in PvP, or just make it where it's extra spec cost in PvP. So many things it could do. I just feel like it's not that strong in PvM as people might think it is. Like, it's a very good spec weapon, but it's not like the, hey, this is the strongest spec weapon in the game because you have the ZCB, you have claws, obviously you have Dragon Warhammers and BGSs. So I don't think that nerfing it for PvM needs to be the case unless they really want to have more spec weapons that can fill that role, if that makes sense. But I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how they're gonna nerf it. Hopefully it's still useful in PvM. I think it's a really cool spec weapon, or just a weapon in general for PvM.
I think Fang is fucking insane. Like,
Yep.
like the rarity of from ToA is like really common, and the price, what it is, like 30 mil or something less than that. It's insane. Like everybody can buy it.
If they made it,
Of the GE.
if they made it more rare, hell, I would say it deserved to be a mega rare with how good it is. It's such a good weapon. Maybe not mega
Maybe
rare,
not
but more
mega
rare.
Yeah, more rare.
I jumped the gun on that one.
Yeah. Voidwaker is just insane in PvP.
Yeah.
Like, you can spec like off prey and hit every single time. Like, bro, like the time I have used it on PvP, I only hit fucking 50s or whatever, and then you just back it. Like, it's too overpowered, I think, for PvP. For PvM, it's nice. You hit every time. Sometimes when you claw the range fang and you hit 0, 0, 0, 0, you're like, nah. What is
Feels
this?
terrible.
Yeah. Sight is, it's, I don't know. It's good, but at the same time, like, something has to be done. Because it's a mega rare from ToB.
It feels like the most, what's the word I'm thinking of? Underwhelming. And
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
one thing they could have done to make it a little bit better is accuracy boost based on NPC size. So of course you still have the 1, 2, more max hits based on size. So like 1, 2, 3, and then cap it at size 3. But anything bigger than like size 3, or maybe have it have even more accuracy if it's bigger, because it's a scythe, man. You're slashing something that is big. Don't you think it makes sense for it to hit more accurately on ginormous NPCs?
Yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, they could maybe soft nerf the accuracy on small NPCs. So, whatever its accuracy is right now for 3x3, leave it at that plus the accuracy they're about to add in right now. So, that would be its base accuracy. And then anything bigger than that, add even more accuracy. Maybe it's percent based, maybe it's like a flat number. I don't know. But it would make it. That would make it more of a interesting weapon if it made it like more accurate. The bigger an NPC is against anything that's weak to slash. It would not be a fang, but it would just be a much better option for the big boy NPCs.
Yeah.
Yeah, great.
Like, if you think about Soul Reaper axe, like, where is that thing fucking used? Fucking nowhere.
Verdorvis.
Not even that, like, Fang is still, like, great on that.
It is, but it is the BIS at Verdorvis.
Yeah, but Fang is still, like, kind of really good on that. It's just, like, man.
I would know because I was using the Fang on Verdorvis on GM from scratch. So it's too fucking good. So I think that slash nerf is definitely going to be good for the Fang.
Yeah.
I just hope for the Scythe it sees a little bit more love in the future, but a small buff is a start, because doing something like a bigger change as the one I mentioned obviously would require some testing just to make sure it's not too game breaking. And of course engine work.
Yeah.
It's the last big edit that they're gonna have to weave through. But yeah, I'm just hoping the Bird Waker doesn't get too big of a hit. There's some other things that I'll probably mention about the Project Rebalance too, such as they wanted to do. How like we have stab, crush, and slash.
Oh yeah.
I think they want to do something similar with range, but instead it would be ballista. So like javelins, crossbows, and arrows. What do you guys think about that? Adding like different styles, like elements and different ammunition types.
If you think about like crossbows, that's only CCB, and the spec, there isn't no more use pretty much. Maybe next, but like, and then like ballista, only used for ragging in PvP, I guess. Like no use at all.
Yeah.
Just, like useless item, I guess. So yeah, needs to do something about that, I guess.
Doing it like that would definitely open the doors to more range options. For sure. So I think that it would be a good thing, because now you have a bit more variety. And it would probably damper down the overuse of T-bow a bit and maybe open the doors to like more use, because now it's like, okay, next ZCB used to be decent there, but now it's like, okay, well, we have the Fang.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so now we could add more bosses where it's like, okay, crossbow's good here, so it's worth having a crossbow. Or maybe, okay, so the using javelins is good at this boss, or maybe fire spells or water spells is good on this boss. So having more of that would mean there would be more variety. So I think it would be a good change overall health wise, because now we have more options. Because I feel like our options are kind of limited right now.
Yeah.
So it would mean access to more items. So it would give them more options, adding more items to the game and making more items useful, like the harm staff. Um, but it seems like it would be a huge project to overhaul the whole system like that. So we're probably talking like this is something that has to be done like over an entire year, and we probably need a whole beta. But obviously, this is something that the community has to be like, I'm okay with this. I'm not sure how the whole community feels about it, but I think it'd be a good change. That's just my 2 cents, though.
I like it in RS3.
Yeah.
They already have it there. Um, like every mob basically has a different weakness, and you actually get use out of all different types of weapons.
Yeah.
Like even if they still have a weakness to the style, but using the proper weapon is usually better than just getting the overall bis weapon. Like thrown weapons. If you have a slightly worse thrown weapon than your best crossbow, it's still worth taking, and that makes fights quite interesting.
Okay.
And it, yeah, could thematically make sense. Like ice trolls, it's best to kill those with fire spells instead of a cannon and a rapier.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know anything about RS3. Like, it's 3 main weapons in this game at the moment. Like you use, yeah, and that's Twisted Bow, Sight, or Fang,
Sure.
and Shadow.
Yeah.
Like other items are just useless.
Yeah.
It would make the game feel different. It wouldn't feel as old school, but yeah.
I feel like I understand the importance of nostalgia and keeping the feel, but I think the core things that make this game is how the combat is, right? I don't think it's going to be such a core change that combat's going to be vastly different. The only thing that's going to change is going to be your options, right? So now it's like, okay, crossbow has more use because this boss is weak to crossbows. They can add a fucking, I don't know if it has to be a twisted bow variant of a crossbow, but they could add some really strong crossbows, maybe new bolts. So it's like it really opens the gates to adding more stuff, a lot easier. So
Yeah, I do think it'll make combat feel nicer at all points in the game.
yeah, it could definitely bring life into a lot of old content too, with based on like what changes to make to the defenses with new additions to, hey, now it's weak to this, now it's weak to that. Ice Demon is of course already weak to fire, with that with the fact that you do full damage with fire spells, but maybe they could lower the defense even more to fire spells if they have like a fire resistance.
Yeah. Melee Vang could be weak to fire to water spells or something.
Yeah.
No. No.
It sounds crazy, but hey.
Yeah, I mean,
They're fiery, bro. Fucking hit them with water spells. Attack them with a fucking ice barrage real quick.
Yeah.
Alright, so
I think it would be good.
Yeah, I think it'd be good. Alright, so this next one, this one I feel like is probably gonna be more for the Oakmeister. But it's gonna also affect you, Tofi, but we'll see. So they also mentioned in one of their blogs, they were looking at, is it possible to include the dungeoneering algorithm into old school RuneScape? And I think that they were indeed successful with rune generation. when they were showing the picture, obviously it looks kind of bland and boring because they don't have all the graphics and stuff. They just wanted to see would it be possible to, quote unquote,
Mhm.
do they have the technology? And they indeed do. So I was wondering, what are your guys' thoughts on them bringing something like a dungeoneering minigame into the game?
Mini yeah. As a mini game, I
Not
think
as a
it's
skill.
cool.
Not as a skill.
No, it's not a skill. But I really like Dunge. Uh, yeah, it's fun. There's a big skill aspect as well. No, it's kind of niche content, but dungeoneering speedrunning, very cool.
I think
And
if they made it kind of similar to how our current reward systems are for like raids and stuff, it would be pretty good content. But I'm wondering if they did like kind of cookie cutter where it's like you go in, you're naked, and you have to like you have maybe a couple items binded to you, and you have to make stuff and cook food and do all that stuff. If it would,
mhm.
if it would be something that people would enjoy, or if it's like you go in with whatever gear you have, and then the only thing that's really taken from dungeoneering is the whole rooms are randomly generated, and then you get loot. If people would still enjoy that.
Um, if it's the latter, I think it would be too much like Gauntlet. People wouldn't like it because it's just Gauntlet reskin.
That is
Yeah,
Maybe
I was
with
about
different
to
bosses
say.
at the end. But
yeah,
Yeah.
that is true, but keep in mind though, the nice thing about dungeoneering was that there was like a whole fleshed out economy compared to Gauntlet.
Mhm.
Gauntlet is very bare bones simple. There isn't too much to it, and there isn't as much variety because you have the same NPCs, and there isn't really any puzzles or different bosses, different loot that
Mhm.
potentially makes clearing out rooms faster, and then obviously item binds too. So like, there's a whole fleshed out economy, and just it's just so much better fleshed out. More depth time was put into it though.
Yeah.
Gauntlet on the other hand, it's like I don't want to hate on Gauntlet. I like me Gauntlet, but it's like it really is like five. It's like dollar store dungeoneering.
Mhm. Yeah. I feel like people wouldn't really interact with all the extra stuff inside Dunge. Um, it's like when I started doing Dunge back in, was it like 2012 something or even earlier? I loved just doing the mining and smithing in there, the wood cutting, but the meta is just to kill a high level NPC and get a good bow from it. Um, yeah, I feel like um, adding all that stuff is cool, but wouldn't add too much. I don't know, but definitely having it as a mini game will be much better than as a skill. And I feel
I
like people
agree.
would play it if it were a mini game.
If there was a mini game with like loot incentive, then I feel like people would enjoy it a whole lot more because
Hmm.
everyone loves money. You can't say no to
Yeah.
money. It would also allow for a whole new skill curve where it's like people that are like brand new into it can get into it, maybe struggle a bit, but then the people who are really good at it, they can get into speed running, and that would be really fun to see people coordinate speed runs for that.
Hmm.
But then there's also RNG, and see, this is the one thing that I think is really important. I hope that Jagex doesn't cater to speedrunners when they come up with the stuff they come up with, because yeah, it'll suck if there's RNG elements put in place for some content, but I feel that it's more important to introduce stuff that's fun, and if people really want to suffer for resetting over and over again for perfect layouts, that's on them, right?
Hmm.
So don't get me wrong, I do think speedrunning is nice, and there's always things that they can do to make it a little bit easier, such as inferno tasks. But
Hmm.
other than that, I don't think that they should cater toward making speedrunning easier for brand new content. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
I think that should not be a factor.
Agreed.
I have no comments.
Thanks, Tofi. All right, so last thing I'm gonna ask: is there anything else on your mind? Like, is there anything else that you'd want to see regarding to the future of the game? I know there's sailing, but just curious: is there anything else that you really want to see in the future?
To be honest, I'm not maxed yet, so I don't really care about the new skill. At the same time, like, no thanks, because it's gonna make me skill more. I kind of like the game at the moment. Yeah.
What about you, Oki?
Yeah. Just the thing that's been in the end game for so long, and even though I'm not maxed either, um,
Respect.
I don't really interact with enough content to give a good opinion on the game as a whole. Basically, only do chambers. So, but I
Yeah.
think it's in a good place. I think PvP could use more love. And just tackle some of the more monotonous skills like mining.
Ooh,
Use some
yeah,
work.
because there was a whole mining
Uh,
rework in RS3, and I think that did a lot of good, right? Or is it
yeah,
smithing? Mining and
Bro.
smithing.
it's mining and smithing. That's a very fun skill now in RuneScape 3.
Yeah, so that would actually be a kind of good direction. Is just reworking some of those skills that kind of feel weird. Because how does it make sense? 99 smithing to make rune armor. It's still fucking
Yeah,
sense.
yeah, makes no sense.
Bro, 3-tick mining is so much fun.
Yeah.
Ahaha.
Ha ha ha. Yeah, not a fan. Um, for
But
me,
overall,
oh, go on.
yeah, I won't say the game's in a good spot. I'd like them. It's gonna be a controversial opinion, but I'd like them to. No, I'm not gonna say it. Wanted to say get
Just
rid of
Say it,
wanted
say
to
it,
say
say it.
get rid of quest helper.
ooh,
Bro, that's the most OP
it's an
plugin
overpowered plugin.
we have
So
ever had.
it is
Yeah,
overpowered.
and I want them to
Like,
finally finish some fucking storylines, man. Like basically every quest storyline is just open ended.
Yeah, like we have the Majorat one, which is a continuation, but we got the vampire one open ended. The elf one got completed. We have the gnome one incomplete. Um, what else? I guess would you consider Evolution one Majorat or its own storyline?
Um, it, let me think where it goes in RS3. No, it's Majorat.
It ends up being Majorat. Just right now, it's like
Yeah.
in the air. What happens next?
Yeah, I'll see you in the north, he says, but where's the ritual of the Majorath quest?
Yeah, so I guess
Um,
we'll probably have a Majorat continuation at some point.
uh-huh. And they could do more with the elves, like do some more with Saren. Hmm. Others are there? Desert, like
Obviously Zarek's storyline too.
Eric, Jesus, just come on, my dad, finish some stuff. And now we're getting Farlamore.
I'm hoping Varlamore is what continues the Zarek storyline because
Yeah.
it seems that his interest in Zaya has kind of dwindled down, and he's moved on from there and is going straight to Zaya or Varlamore. I almost said Zaya again. At least from his dialogue in A Kingdom Divided, he seems like he wants to
Yeah.
go straight for Varlamore's neck.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But yeah, that would be pretty good to
That's
see them complete more storylines. Um, Anything else, or shall I get into my the few things that I want to see changed?
that's it for me.
Okay.
go on.
All right. So number one, I think they're starting to do this more, which is good, is the middle game or the mid game. So as you're approaching, you have your early game, then you have your mid game, then you have your late game. So late game is like you pretty much have access to everything you can do any piece of content you want to do, with some caveats. So you might not have max gear, but you have like really good gear, like Bofa, Fang, stuff like that. And then obviously the end game where it's like you've gotten pretty much everything that you'd want. Maybe you're max, maybe you have max gear. You literally have access to anything now. It's just about figuring out what you want to do after accomplishing all those tasks. I think the mid game, there's still some things that they need to do to add in the mid game, whether it's like skilling to make it a little bit more streamlined, make it a bit faster, because I feel like progress for certain things can be slow, and especially with the gear that we have, there's these huge jumps from like one item to the next. So I think that whether it's adding more items that are kind of like cheap, affordable, and still can pack a bit of a punch, that would be good. Or just making it where progressing feels a little bit easier, because it's definitely a grindy game, that's for sure, right? In like 3 or 4 months time, obviously I have a GM from scratch account to kind of show where you can take your account. 100, like almost 100 mil bank, got the all the prayers unlocked, maxed out my stats. Obviously a lot of it was AFK time while I was at work, so Nightmare Zone was used. But I would still say that the progress can be a little bit off-putting for some people. A lot of people want to get into stuff a little bit faster, right? And MMOs are designed to be grindy. I understand that, but I don't think there's too much harm in making, like, accelerating the mid game a bit more. Not too fast to the point where it's like, oh, so there's all this content that's like useless, but to the point where it's like, do you feel there's a reason to interact with things like Sarachnis? You feel there's a reason you interact with the new stuff that they're adding now. Like there's a Varlamore burst I think they're adding for a mid game. Because right now it's like you don't really touch it too much. Look at Godways, right? Godways is something that it's still pretty good money, and it's something you can do mid game and late game, end game. But end game is more for if you're pet hunting, whereas late game is if you're trying to make some money with the boys or playing with friends. That is still there. So that's probably the big thing. I know there's sailing coming out, but I'm like generally positive. Scaling more sucks, but I just think it's an excuse to kind of expand on storylines as well as adding new content, scaling methods, and maybe new stuff that could potentially be useful for us PvMers in the future.
I mean, I have done hell of like early game shit, mid game shit with like I have made a bunch of ults, and I have done the early and mid game like so many times. It's so boring. It's man, questing, skilling. That's about it.
I think questing
yeah.
first time around is fine. It's just like if you do quests over and over again, it kind of gets boring. But it's safe to say that hitting a rock like over and over for XP can kind of get a little tedious. The game is pretty repetitive, right? It's RuneScape. That's not gonna change. But I mean, doing a mini game that has like a little bit of variation, or stuff that has a bit of variation compared to hit a rock, oh, I'm getting 15k XP an hour. It's just like I think that's definitely better, and just filling the voids with alternative methods and just making it just faster would make lives a lot easier, and or for gear in general, just having more options for gear would be really nice too.
Yeah, I think that there's a dungeon they're adding with Varlamore.
Yeah.
Like the Barrows 2, I think that's a good addition.
That is a fucking great addition. The sets seem very interesting. Not sure the utility they'll have for mid-game accounts, but we'll see. Maybe they'll be pretty good. If I can see someone pulling up the banners with that shit.
Yeah.
That'd be pretty cool to see.
Wait, are they adding like mid-game content?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it seems like they're kind of directing some focus to mid game, which is a good thing. As weird as that might sound as an end game player, because it's like this is content I'm not really gonna touch on, but at the same time, I care a lot about the health of the game, and I want more people to be playing the game because I think that's really important.
Mm-hmm.
Well, is there any last thoughts, guys?
Fuck mid game. And fuck early game. I mean, like, when you get like max gear and everything, like, end game is just like speed running, pet hunting.
And
There is,
make more money.
yeah,
Make more money to buy more stuff in the future to fill up your bank.
yeah,
I
and
feel
more
like
gear for the alts.
I feel like a mistake a lot of people make, and something a lot of YouTubers give as a tip to people is setting goals. While setting goals is good, I think it also makes a lot of stuff very boring because you're only moving towards that goal, and that makes things seem very dull. Like you want to achieve this, okay, well then complete the entire vampire storyline. So then you're only focused on finishing Sins of the Father, and instead of actually playing the game, doing all those quests, learning what you're doing, like why are the vampires harassing these people, like why is this all happening in the game? You're only focused on completing Sins of the Father. That type of stuff makes the game boring.
Yeah,
Like
I agree with that so much. Like, holy.
that's why I think Quest Helper just sucks, because it has like 500,000 installs, and I can guarantee you these people only want those quests done and they don't care about the game as much. They
People
only
forget
care
that
about what comes after.
there's text behind the spacebar that you're pressing.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I have no idea about the storyline of this game. All I do is um check where the next like arrow is and click that. And all I can do is click boss.
I mean, to be fair, right? This is RuneScape. This is not like some fucking triple A game. This is like an MMORPG, right? Obviously, it can still have a very enticing, interesting storyline, but if you're gonna play a game for story, I'm thinking something like God of War Ragnarok, for an example, right?
Yeah.
Very well done game, fucking beautiful story, just 10 out of 10.
Yeah, but at the same time, I think RuneScape has a pretty compelling story, and the quests are actually funny.
Yeah, of
and
course.
challenging. It took me like 3 days to complete Desert Treasure 2 because I refused to use a guide. I was just stuck in that fucking Duke prison for a day.
Dude, I would not have been able to complete that without a guide, because I'm like, what the fuck am I doing? Where the fuck am I going? I'm lost.
Yeah,
So
I got some help from a friend, but never looked at the wiki, and it was actually fun to do. That's just my final thought for the interview. Enjoy the game.
Enjoy the game. That's the most important thing. If you're playing RuneScape
Quit
and
the
you're not
game.
enjoying it, you said quit the game?
Yeah, that too.
Yeah,
It's also a good idea. Get out. Get out.
Get out while
Like,
while you still can.
no,
Don't end up like us.
you can't never quit the game. That's sad.
No, been there for 18 years.
Yup.
I mean, I'm playing other games right now, but we'll see how long the
Keep coming
addiction of
back.
that game happens, because you're probably gonna come back, right? That's how it always goes. All right, guys. Well, I think that'll wrap things up. Thank you so much for joining me today. That was a whole 2 hours and 20 minutes of talking with you two fine gentlemen. The man from Finland with the... Do you still have long locks?
Huh?
Or did you cut it? Because I remember when you went on camera, you had like fucking rock star hair.
Yeah, I had a really long hair, yeah, back in the day. I mean, I have like kind of mid hair now. Like, it's not short, but it's not like long. Also, it's freezing at the moment. Like, my balls are They are gone. Sorry.
No, it's completely fine. And of course, thank you for joining me today, Mr. Oak Tree of the Dutchlands.
Thanks for having me.
All right. Is there any last words before I hit the stop recording button?
Shout out toy owner.
Shout out Tots and Cruddy.
Yep.
Shout out to my mom.
And Sido, you got me into CMs.
Dude, without you, I wouldn't be doing CMs either. So it's like, it's a
Damn, that's crazy.
symbiotic relationship.
Shout out to everyone in the call.
Shout out to everyone in the call.
And shout out Oak. Yep.
Yep.
Alright, guys.
You go.
That's going to wrap up episode number 16 of PvMer Spotlight. Hope you guys enjoyed. Till next time, guys. I hope you all have a wonderful day. Farewell.
Farewell.
Peace.